This is Coffee, Country, and Cody.
Hey, it's ACM week. They're celebrating it in a big way with R. Kelly Sutton in Frisco, Texas. At the Star, Jerry Jones of the Dallas Cowboys. I can't wait to get a text with a picture, maybe some audio from Kelly Sutton that she, after all these years, has finally encountered. What'd you say he was, 84? 82? 82-year-old Jerry Jones. Exciting stuff. He voted for himself for Entertainer of the Year, just so you know.
It's his building.
That's the way he rolls. Charlie Maddowes is here. Andy Nye, our studio director. Jeff Roberts, he's in master control. I'm Bill Cody. And World War II veteran Don Graves and a Nashville hit songwriter with incredible success, Jason Sever, have teamed up with something we want to share. Mr. Graves will just celebrated his 100th birthday, and we're going to share a song that he co-wrote with Jason, a thing called The Sands of Iwo Jima, and he was actually there, one of the few people remaining that saw the flag raised.
The greatest generation.
Yeah,
right?
and that infamous picture of the raising of the flag at Iwo Jima. Some insight into the work of Wounded Warriors coming in just a little while. My pick of the week, which I'm very excited about. If you know Sister Sadie, then you know J. Lee Roberts, both as a member of the band as well as a solo artist. And very excited for her and a brand new song that I'm going to feature as my pick of the week coming up.
Don was telling me a story off the air, Mr. Graves, about being a young kid growing up, and his parents would send him out to the car to take the battery out of the car to hook up the battery to the radio. And the first thing he can remember hearing was the voice of Eddie Arnold.
Oh, wow. How about that? And we still do it that way today, ladies and gentlemen, here in the Acuff House studio on the Grand Ole Opry Plaza. Charlie is using his car battery this morning. Mine yesterday. Here we rotate batteries.
The Fiat doesn't take much of a battery.
More Coffee, Country, and Cody is on WSM.
Well, we are very excited to introduce you, honored, frankly, to have World War II veteran Don Graves, who just celebrated a 100th birthday. When was your birthday?
Last Sunday.
May 3rd. Yeah. And Jason Severs, when was your 100th birthday?
Oh, I don't know if I'm going to get there yet. It's still yet to be determined if I'm getting to 100.
Being a songwriter in Nashville, it's tough, right?
Yeah, we take it a day at a time. Take it a day at a time. Yes, sir.
Well, let's just share the backstory on Sands of Iwo Jima, which we will see and hear here in just a little bit.
Sure.
And how I know you have written.
I've written
Operation Song.
I have.
With veterans.
I've worked with them. I've worked with a couple of the organizations, but I do a little program on my own now called the As You Were Foundation, and that's what we do. We just we tell the stories of brave men and women of the armed services, and I'm lucky enough to call this man a friend, and I've told his story in a song, and. It is called The Sand of Iwo Jima. I wrote it with Frank Myers. You maybe know Frank Myers. He's probably got 10 or 12 big number ones that you know about.
Front porch looking in, I swear.
Yeah, he's no slouch.
He's done okay.
He's done all right at this business. He's a good one to learn from. But I was on a flight going to Alaska, and I met a man named Don Weatherby, and he has the Texas Air Power Council, and he told me about that. I told him about what I did. We exchanged numbers, didn't expect to hear from him again, but he called me back and said, why don't you come down to Texas? I'd like for you to meet a soldier. And that's how I met Mr. Graves, and that's where the song was written.
So you were back home going back to Texas.
Yeah.
And where is your home now, Mr.
Detroit,
Don?
Michigan. Well, now I'm in Texas.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm in Texas.
Detroit was home originally.
Yep.
And that's where you joined the military at 17?
17, yes.
What was going on in your life? With the outbreak of World War II.
At 17, when I walked out of school, I never liked school. I really never liked school. But I just went off, did odd jobs, anything that would bring in dimes, nickels, quarters, whatever. I had a paper route. I did everything that would bring in a little money. There were six of us, and I had a father that he had 4 children that wanted to love him, but he wouldn't let us. We had a wonderful mother, and her family were great. Her mother and father were on a farm in Detroit, just out of Detroit. Mm-hmm. That was a great country, western country there, because every time Eddie Arnold was going to be on Grand Ole Opry, they went out and took the battery out of the old Chevy and hooked it up and called the rest of the farmers in, and they
real
had
as
a
it
small
gets.
barrel of beer, and an old lady of the army be out there saying, "Oh my God!" And I was only about 10, 11 years old.
Yeah, back in those days, he went by the Tennessee Plowboy.
That's
The
it.
Eddie
Tennessee
Arnold.
Plowboy.
Boy, he's so smooth. So, what happens where you join the Marines, correct?
Well, I wanted to go in the Marine Corps, so I had to wait till I was 17, and went in, spent the whole war with the Corps, and had a lot of experience. After the war, I came home, but things are never the same. Things are never the same when you leave, and you can't adjust to that. And they couldn't adjust to me. Can you imagine a bunch of young teens leaving home for the first time? We never traveled. We had no money. And from the Great Depression. But I used to sit down on the floor when they had the battery hooked up in the farm. I love being on the farm. I love it in the summertime. And old Eddie Arnold would be singing away, and boy, those farmers, they loved it. Michigan was a great state for being up north, country western.
Yeah, because a lot of people in the South were making their way north to factory work.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Well, they did. You're right. They did, especially after the war. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So during the war, I think you're the first ever flamethrower assignee that I have ever known from the war in which my father and Charlie's father both fought. My father in the Aleutian campaign, and Charlie, your dad shares Iwo Jima in common.
Yeah,
right?
he was with the Seabees. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, we did a podcast with Sean Ryan, and after we got through, he said, "I want to show you something. Come on downstairs." He went and got a red something. I don't know what it was. He said, "How you like my flamethrower?" I said, "What? Flamethrower?
Of course
That's
he
a
has
pea
one.
shooter. That's not a flamethrower."
So how did you get that assignment of all the things you could have done in the military?
Pardon?
How were you assigned to flamethrower duty?
How did I
Yeah.
acquire it?
Yeah.
Very easily. My skipper gave it to me. He said, "Graves, you're our new flamethrower operator." But I said, and that was an inch shorter than a light, you know. Mm-hmm. And I said, "How much does that weigh?" 72 pounds. Don't worry about it.
Wow. He said
I
it's
didn't
because he
realize
was
they were
small.
that heavy.
45 years later, after the peace treaty, we ran into one another, and I said, "I got to ask you again, Skipper, why did you put that on me?" He said, "You're here, aren't you?" Short. The lifespan of a flamethrower was 4 to 5 minutes,
Yeah.
Wow.
and the big guys did not make it.
He says he made it because he was small. He was short.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tells you a lot about it.
So, Jason, have you served in the military, or
Never
anybody
have.
in your family? What's your inspiration
My-
for working with the military?
Just a
folks?
passion for military and for history. And I mean, being a songwriter, these stories need to be told. They just lend themselves so well to music. Just a passion of mine to work with them. So.
And tell me what happened in the studio recently with John Rich and a surprise from Lee Greenwood.
Yeah, I didn't have to sing this one this time. This was good. It was John Rich showed up, and all of a sudden Lee Greenwood appeared with him as well. So we got vocals from both of them on this song. Did that yesterday. It was a full day. Don got to see his song recorded by some of the best musicians in the world at one of the best studios in the world, and we had a great time doing it. It was an all-day event.
Had you written songs before, Mr. Don?
Pardon?
Had you written songs before, or was this your first attempt?
Me?
Yeah.
I couldn't write a song. I just sing them.
He does it pretty good. He lived the song. It wrote itself. It wrote itself. Frank and I just made it rhyme.
And where were you when you wrote it? Where was the birth of the song?
We were here. We were here in Nashville.
Okay.
Frank and I wrote a little bit of the song before we got there with Mr. Graves, so we wouldn't have to spend so much time with him. But he gave us a story about the bridge. The bridge in the song that you'll hear is, there isn't one part of it that's not true, but that especially was directly from his mouth. So
You, Don, witnessed the raising of the flag, the infamous picture on Mount Suribachi.
Yeah, that was
in
our
the island
battalion. My battalion, we took the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's something that people don't understand or know about. Let me tell you the real story on that.
Okay.
We never had a flag. It was not in the making. We knew nothing about securing the mountain and raising the flag. That never entered the picture. So we're fighting up Mount Suribachi, and I got that thing on my back. They're rolling hand grenades down. We can't throw ours up, so we had heavy casualties. When we got to the crest, there's 5 or 6 guys up there, and they're raising the flag up. And I said, where'd they get the flag? We didn't know anything about this. And then I looked, and I said, the pole that it was on, it looked so funny. Well, it was drain pipe they found.
Oh, wow.
It was drain pipe on top that the Japanese used to catch rainwater. It rained every night there, sprinkled heavy.
Yeah.
And so they acquired that. And then I said, where did they tie it when they found wire up there? Well, the flag, as we were elected to go up there, our battalion commander said to Lieutenant Schreier, he said, Harold, he said, take this flag. He took it out of his blouse. He said, the skipper aboard the transport that brought us wants to know if they put this up for him. So he said, well, I'll see what we can do. He said, all right, go. So we did. Then they rigged it up. Yeah.
And now you know firsthand.
But when that went up,
yeah,
520 ships in the bay let go with horns or whistles. Oh, my God. Wow. Rockets in the air. Oh, it was
you could just hear it. You could hear it in the photo.
Well, there's a line in the first verse that says, we lost 7,000 men there, so 6 could raise that flag. Sobering, you know?
And if you don't know that picture, if you're of a certain age, you may not. Please look it up today, all right? As we raise the flag here on Coffee Country and Cody with Sand of Iwo Jima, our special guest, World War II veteran, and now Centurion Don Graves. Feels good to be a Centurion. Sounds like a Roman soldier.
Pardon? Did you say toast?
And Jason Sever. Here's the result, video and audio, all over the world.
More Coffee, Country, and Cody is on WSM.
Our guest, World War II veteran Don Graves, who just turned 100, and we celebrated the Sand of Iwo Jima, the video and song this morning, along with the fellow who was a co-writer with Frank Myers, Jason Sever. Again, it's great to have you both in
Thank
the
you
studio.
for having us.
335 Marines on Iwo Jima going in, and how many came out?
3 divisions, 60,000.
Okay.
20,000 to a division.
Your particular battalion. How many in your particular battalion?
Oh, 850.
But only how many came back?
Oh.
18, did I read? Something like that?
Sad thing, yes. Well, I can't speak for the other two. No, there was, let's see, what was there, 7,000 that was killed?
7,000.
Something like, yes, 7,000. I can tell you what happened. Day one, when we hit the beach, there were 300 in my company. 6 weeks later, we were released. 18 of us walked off with no officers.
Yeah, that's it.
I read where it took 3 days to go 540 feet to mount the top of the mountain.
Yeah. Yeah, it's 575 feet from the beach to Mount Suribachi. We got there the 3rd day.
So once the flag is raised and you come down, where do you go from there? What was your next assignment?
Our job was to take the mountain, secure it, then head north on the left side. The other 2 divisions went through the middle, like 1, 2, 3. Mm-hmm. We moved up that way. It was hit and go. It was really rough. Every day we'd lose someone. They sent replacements in, and we just continued to lose men. But it took us 7 weeks to reach the north end and secure it.
Oh, yeah. Can you tell them about the replacement? Can you tell them about the replacement that came in?
Oh, the replacement. I could tell that. Yes, I will take it to my grave. 3 of us had a squad, but we lost our squad, so we fought together. This is what we did. You do what you're trained to do. Mm-hmm. And we're sitting, the 3 of us were sitting in, and I've got up on the ground, and I'm looking for snipers. I was up there 15 minutes. I couldn't find a thing. So I dropped back down, got on my phone. I reported company CP, nothing going on. He said, well, you better keep looking because our first sergeant just took around his leg back there. And I said, 10-4. By the way, you've got a kid coming for a replacement. He'll be there in about 10 minutes. I said, good, we can use him. 10 minutes, 12 minutes. He stood over the hole and said, Graves. I said, yo, what do you want me to do? I said, come on in here. He came down. I said, sit down over there. There'll be a lot to do when they come at night. And I took my glass. I said, well, I got to get back up there and take a look. He said, Graves, let me have the glasses. I'll look. No, you get yourself hit. And my two buddies says, give him the glasses. That's what he's here for. I threw the glasses to him. He got up right where I had been. Now, that sniper knew that I was going to come back, and he was just waiting for me. We're sitting there just talking, shooting the breeze. All of a sudden, he fell back. His helmet blew off between my feet. We didn't expect that. But that sniper was waiting for me, and he thought that was me. I looked down in the helmet, and caught in the web was a beautiful young lady with a baby in her lap. I lost it. I just took everything off. I just lost it. And I got smacked in the face by one of my buddies. I come out of it. We moved to another hole. I'll take that episode to the grave.
You went into the ministry, did you not? For over 3 decades, you were a pastor?
Ira Hayes?
No,
Did you say
ministry.
Huh?
Your ministry time. Your ministry.
My ministry?
Your ministry.
Well, on the beach, when we hit the beach, we were jammed up. A lot of us are getting here. John Bassaloon, Medal of Honor. Guadalcanal, first one in the Corps of the Second War. John said to his skipper, Jesse Puller, and he was a captain then. He said, sir, I want to go back with my buddies. He said, John, we're raising money. I said, I really want to go back with my buddies. He said, Medal of Honor, I can't say no, go. And he came with us, trained with us. He's about from here out to the concrete out there. He got it right in the head, and it killed him instantly. Yeah, and word flew. Bassaloon just got it. Mm-hmm. That happened a lot, you know. Yeah. We had a few Hollywood actors in our division. I mean, everybody went to war. Mm-hmm. Hollywood went to war. Our mothers, our fathers, our brothers and sisters all went in the factories and did production work.
So I'm curious, at what point do you feel this calling to go into the ministry out of the events that you... Because it's interesting, my World War II father also wound up going into the ministry.
While I was on the beach, I was afraid. I wasn't afraid going in, but when I saw what was happening, I was afraid. We were all afraid. We couldn't get off the beach. I buried my face in the sand and I said, Lord, I don't know you. I know you're there and I know you're real. I never spent time in church, but if you could get me off this, I don't know, serve you the rest of my life. He did. He got me off the island, but he didn't get me until 9 years later, and it was the right time because I wasn't doing too well. I wasn't doing too well. So,
but he specialized in people who weren't doing too well.
That's exactly true.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
I went to a Billy Graham. I was invited to a Billy Graham evangelistic meeting.
Uh-huh.
And a couple in their 80s, we loved them both. We loved those people. And he said, Don, he said, I have to talk to you, but then I have a question. A question. I said, go ahead, sir. You are a mess. I didn't deny that. You're losing your best friends. I didn't deny that. And you're going to lose your wife. And I didn't say anything on that one. And you're going to lose yourself because you can't help yourself. Will you take my wife and I tonight to Billy Graham meeting in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, up the lake? Mm-hmm. You know what I said? I'll change clothes and be right over. Something is happening. And that night, I went through a terrible thing. I fell on the floor. I cried. I was so sorry and so guilty.
You surrendered.
I surrendered.
Yeah.
Yes. You know, We went to Normandy on this thing. Beautiful. We went to the cemetery that's just up from the beach at Normandy. Have you been there?
No, I've not.
It'll move you. And there was 8 of us. There were 8 of us, and we moved right in by the crosses. And our leader said, Don, wouldn't it be proper for you to sing one verse of the Amazing Grace? I said it would, and I sang it. And people were starting to come in, and they would stand over there. Every one of us had tears coming down our face.
Absolutely.
And I sang one verse of it. That's all I could handle.
You are in the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen,
Pardon?
Don. So welcome again to Coffee Country and
Thank
Cody.
you.
Thank you for being here and taking an early call on your way home back to Fort Worth.
This is interesting. This is strange. All my kid life, all I heard, you see, up in Wisconsin, Michigan, and that, they're farm people, they're country people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And they love the Grand Ole Opry. And I never forget him. I love that guy singing. I just loved him, period, you know. What's he doing in my world?
Perfect. That's perfect.
Well, listen, we're going to put the battery back in your car so you can get to the airport. So we won't have to listen to the radio right now. So
World War II veteran. He just turned 100, Don Graves. And where are we headed here?
I think there's only one way to finish this interview, especially since he's a guest star on the song.
And Bill,
Mr. Lee Greenwood, I think.
Oh,
right?
okay.
That's a
So
good
we're
way
doing
to do
okay.
it.
We're doing that
That's
first.
a good way to do
All
it.
right. On Coffee Country and Cody, Jason, thank you.
Thank
for
you very much.
sharing
I
the
appreciate you,
story
gentlemen.
along
Thank you
with
for
Don
having
this
us.
morning. And we need to get you in here one morning and have you play and sing a few.
I'd love to do it.
All
Love
right.
to do it. Thank you very much.
And your first number one was Seeing Red with
Seeing
Opry
Red.
star Dustin Lynch.
With Opry star Dustin Lynch, yeah.
That's coming up in about 10 minutes.
Perfect. Hey, I need the extra place. Thank you. Thanks, gents. Appreciate you.
This is Lee Greenwood, and God bless the USA. Here we sit at the Opry House entrance in the Acuff House Simply Superior studio this morning, former home of Roy Acuff. And Blake Shelton. Nobody can appreciate the environment in which we do the show each morning more than Blake Shelton, who just celebrated his 30th number one. He and Kelly Sutton, they got together. They caught up in Frisco, Texas, as they celebrate 60 years of the ACMs. And he says, hey, you don't take these number ones for granted at this stage anyway.
Well, it means everything because, I mean, I'm not joking when I say I know that, you know, artists have a window of time that they, you know, can have success at radio and have hits, and it comes and then it goes, you know, and you just got to make the most of it while you have that and try to keep the window open as long as you can, you know. And Ken had told me, my record company guy told me, he said, man, it was, I think he said 5 years ago when I had my last number one song, and normally that's like, you're probably not going to have another one again. I mean, it's been a long time, you know, and so to have one, you know, sneak one in again, that's why I'm saying I'm excited to do this song here on the 60th, because now I'm done this long enough to know these little moments like this, they're a big deal, and it's fun to still be in the game at some level, you know what I mean?
And you're a big deal too, Hoss. Blake Shelton, congratulations. Texas is his 30th number one song, 24 years after his first, little trivia, Austin was his first trip to the top of the charts. And Opry Next Stage, the class of 2025, this afternoon, they'll be in Frisco as a part of the whole week-long ACM celebration there. It'll be Avery Anna, Chase Beckham, Priscilla Block, Caitlin Butts, Cassius Culpepper, Tiger Lily Gold, Tucker Wetmore, special guest Riley Green. Jelly Roll is hosting 2:30 this afternoon, Opry's Facebook page and YouTube. My pick of the week this week, here we go, from J. Lee Roberts, who's a member of Sister Sadie, but also does solo work. And this is a Tim Stafford, Steve Gully song. And I want to say about 18 years it's been laying around. And it's, again, one of those moments in time, very stripped down. Byron House produced it. And I just wanted you to hear it as my pick of the week this week from J. Lee Roberts, Heavy as a Stone in Her Heart.